Hey, this is Aaron with Walk Ministries, and something that just kind of sparked an idea for just a very short message is contentment. And what I mean by that is it is good to have ambition, it's good to have plans, and it's good to have a drive. But so many times, those of us who have had ambition and drive, and then we're trying to do certain things that we have an idea of, even things we think God has given us ideas of, and it just doesn't seem to work out. It can cause very stressful situations, really for you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because you're trying to get something to succeed, and you try, and it just seems like there's doors closed, there's walls. It just seems like you can't seem to get where you need to get. And every day, it seems to disquiet your soul. There's no contentment. Life seems to be just a reach away. Now, am I saying to give rid of your ambitions? No. Pray about your drive. Pray about your ambitions. Make sure they are in line with what God says in His Word. Sometimes we search for things that is not God's will for our lives, and God might be able to trying to stop those in our lives. But things that are not against His Word, and we're trying, even things that might be you think has to be God's will, and it's just not happening, or maybe it's not happening now. What do? Well, I go back and I think about my dad. My dad was a worker all of his life. He worked in the mines. And he was a deputy sheriff for a while. But you cannot find, awards, recognition, things that my dad did that was high, lofty goals, huge achievements. My dad went to work, and he was a family man. The most important thing was he was a believer in Jesus Christ. My dad was content. Sometimes we need to borrow some of that contentment. What was it that he wasn't that he was happy and not unhappy every day because he wasn't famous? He didn't have his name in lights. He didn't have, his name on the paper. He didn't have any. He wasn't famous, but he was content. And sometimes when you have drives, you can see that contentment is something very attractive. The contentment of life. Now, some people that are content, they just are looked down on because you just don't have enough drive. Don't have any ambition. Like I said, I'm going to have that ambition, but I got to borrow that contentment. What does God say about it? In 1 Timothy chapter 6, I'm going to read verses 6 through 8. It said, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." Godliness with contentment is great gain. The most important thing is your walk with God. Now, it's okay to be ambitious in your walk with God, wanting to stretch, get more of Him, be more like Christ, get know more of Him through His Word. But listen what it says in verse 7 and 8. "For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, clothing, let us be therewith content." Sometimes we have to be okay with just being us. And if you're watching this video and you're like, something, yes and amen. I'm tired of driving. I'm tired of driving. Drive. Seem to be spinning my wheels. It's like a handspur on the wheel. He could run as fast as he can. He can slow down. He can run as fast as he can. He can slow down. And fast as he can for half an hour. But guess what? He's going nowhere. And sometimes the hamster will just get off the wheel and set. Sometimes it just sounds good just to get off the wheel. Now, like I said, I'm not saying to abandon your especially your God-given desires, God-given ambitions. Go for everything you do. Go for the best education you can, the best job you can. What I'm saying is, don't make it such a drive that if it takes a while or it just doesn't happen, be content with where you are. Always strive and be closer to God, knowing more of His Word, be used of Him more, love others more like He loves us. That is the best drive, and there's never going to be a wall for that. If some man puts up a wall, you can find a way around it. Because if it's God's will for you to please him, it's there. But I'm talking about the other things in life. Jobs, education. Maybe there's a wall. Be content with where you are. Rest. Don't beat yourself over the head for it anymore. Listen, I hope this rings true with somebody out there, that you're just tired. And I'm letting you know it's okay to be content. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Find your joy, and not with what you're going to get someday. Find your joy with Christ, with who you are today, with your position that you are in today. Live today. Hey, if you like what you watch, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and just appreciate your watching. Thank you, and God bless.